Bay coming off of a nice win against Washington. Lovie Smith's return to Chicago. I think Tampa Bay might actually play this game pretty close. It wouldn't shock me if the Buccaneers end up winning this game, or at least covering that number.
It bothers me as a civilian. I don't know if it bothers you as somebody who actually does picks and places wagers on games, but in the NCAA tournament, whenever March Madness comes around, it's like, oh, who's your upset alert in this bracket? And somebody picks a 9 over an 8 seed. That just bugs the crap out of me. It's like, that's not an upset. I mean, those teams are pretty much even. That's like picking a 5 seed or a 4 seed in the NBA. Does that kind of stuff bother you as a, when you're doing an upset alert, do you do a legit upset? Like, if it's, a Notre Dame team that's number 5 versus number 1 Florida State. That's somewhat of an upset, but do you do, like, if they're close, do you ever say, like, upset alert, 15 over 14 in the NCAA tournament, or in the NCAA, or in the, what am I trying, the 6th seed?
Yeah, in March Madness. Correct. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I don't, whenever I look at an upset, I don't look at whatever the ranking is. I look at what the actual point spread is, and I determine that being an upset. For example, everyone's saying, oh, Alabama upset the number 1 team in the nation, Mississippi State, last week. Well, that wasn't an upset. Alabama closed as a 9.5-point favorite. Vegas knew that Alabama was the better team based off of their rankings. And that's what I go on. So what bugs me is you have these big-time sports networks that will say, oh, this was a big upset. It's like, well, it really wasn't. I mean, if you go through the Vegas numbers, which, pretty much rule everything as far as, at least betting-wise goes, that's what determines a true upset or not just a ranking that was handed out based on different criteria. And that kind of transcends into how this college football playoff system is working now. They've got this whole list of criteria that they use to pick these 4 teams every week. And there's a lot of contradictory things going on with this. They're saying that margin of victory is not a big deal in who makes the top 4 every week. But then if you look at it...
I was talking about this with my buddy. Okay, what are the factors for getting into this college football playoff? Because it's like, okay, head-to-head for Baylor and TCU thrown out the window.
Yeah.
So what are the factors for getting into this? I mean, they played head-to-head. They play in the same conference. What else do you have to do? I mean, it's like saying, it's just, what are you trying to, what are the proving factors that you're going to get in? And the other thing is if it's between Baylor, TCU, and Ohio State getting into the college football playoff, Ohio State's going to go because that's more. I think they're going to pick not based off of who the best team is. It's going to be based off who has the bigger fan base, and it's Ohio State. I'm not saying just because of those 3 teams that Ohio State's the best team, but that they're not the best team out of those 3. But they're going to go ahead of those other 2 because of how many people are going to watch, how many people are going to go to the game. And for them to deny that that's a factor, they're liars.
Right. And I'm going to tell you something else that would be a factor in using those same 3 teams as an example. TCU and Baylor being in the Big 12, there's no conference title game. Everybody else, you look at Ohio State in the Big 10. You got obviously the SEC teams with Alabama and Mississippi State, and then the Pac-12 team with Oregon. They all have conference title games. That extra game is really what's going to make the difference. So the Big 12 is really shooting themselves in the foot by not having a conference title game. I think that's going to probably change in another couple of years once they realize if they're going to be on the outside looking in this year, and if it happens again next year, they're definitely going to be looking at trying to grab some team from the Southwest or the South BYU. To join in, and BYU is a possibility. I've heard other schools thrown around and about. But yeah, definitely they're going to have to do something because I love the system now because it's making a lot of games that just kind of seems like unless you're really following that conference, it's not something to really pay attention about. For example, right now, West Virginia, Kansas State playing. that game has major implications for Ohio State, because of what we mentioned with TCU and Baylor. So I like how games now in the regular season have a playoff feel to them, or a bowl game feel to them, because they matter for other teams, not just the two teams facing off against each other. So that's a plus, which is also why at some point you got to expand this playoff to 8 teams, possibly even 16 teams. But like you said, there's a lot of contradictory points. They're saying, okay, yeah, margin of victory definitely matters, because TCU, the only reason they're ahead of Baylor, they put up 82 points on a Texas Tech team, and everyone was amazed by that, and that definitely has added some kind of weight. Oh, it shouldn't, because that was their whole ruling, saying, oh, it's not a big deal. But I think they're proving otherwise with those two teams alone, and unless we see it balance out by the end of the year of the season, then I won't believe anything else they say about it.
Really quick before we get a break, is it? I mean, if Baylor and TCU had the names Oklahoma and Texas, they would be in the top. They would both be in the top 4, right?
Yeah. Well, give or take. Like I said, is that
a fair assessment? Because Oklahoma. Okay, the argument for TCU and Baylor is they never really. Okay, TCU played and beat Minnesota, but I mean, you look at non-conference for Texas and Oklahoma over the last few years, not very strong. But
yeah,
their names carry a lot of weight as far as college football. When you hear the name Texas, Oklahoma, you're like, yeah, they're in. Baylor, TCU, not yet, not so much.
Right. And the landscape's changing with that. So I get
would not be 5-6 or 6-7 in this situation.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, they would be closer, or you know what, they would be, because there's so many other teams that are better ahead of them. But they wouldn't be completely casting off the way that a lot of people are casting off Baylor and TCU. I agree. Their name, the weight in their name, would keep them in the conversation a little bit longer.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take a break. If you want to call in, the number is 585-633-7487. You're listening to the Bob Sullivan Show here on LateNightSportsRadio.com. We'll be right back.
Something shines in your eyes tonight. Baby, there's no need to lie tonight. I see your lips out on fire. Oh, baby, I want you to be mine. Touch me, baby, I'm waiting for you. So come on, break the rules. The time is right, the time's tonight. Let it start and you won't stop. Let it start and I won't stop. lost or found love, lying by your side. Take another second to keep breathing in the moment before it's gone. You never know when love is lost until you find just what it costs to be wrong. I wonder if you think of me passing by, you think you see me coming. I wonder if you pull me in, kiss me just one time again. Cause in the final hours of night, do you remember? Coming and the nights will keep on going till they're tired, falling fast asleep and as they dream of ghosts of beats filled with desire. The chance of life is all around, a chance to take is always found. Oh, writing on the lullabies, I'm alone and living life. Oh, do you remember? Lost or found love, lying by your side. In the final hours of night, do you remember? Lost or found love, lying by your side. Take another second. Until you find just what it costs to be wrong. I wonder if you think of me passing by, you think you see me coming. I wonder if you pull me in, kiss me just one time again. The final hours of night, do you remember?
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.